Now, if you go to the link which I've shared, then you will get two options: anaconda distribution and mini conda. Both works fine. The difference between the whole anaconda and mini anaconda is the size of the total distribution. So mini anaconda, it's around 300, 400 MB. On the other end, the full anaconda is nearly 700 MB or so, because it has a more number of default Python packages available than the mini anaconda. That's the difference between the two. So it's your choice. You can choose anything. As and when required, we will do the modules installations. That's not a problem. And from here, you have to choose your particular OS related distribution: Windows, Linux, and Mac. And it downloads the distribution. Now let me go and try to install and show you how to install. It's not a Herculean task to install Anaconda, but there are one or two points which I would like to tell. So I have only currently the Windows with me. So anyone using the Mac, I think you would have already installed any of other applications on your Mac. So similarly, you have to install this Anaconda also. When you start your .exe file in Windows, this is the window you get it. Click on next, agree the terms and conditions, click on just me or all users. I prefer just me. Leave the default location. You leave the default location. I'm getting the error because I have already installed Anaconda in my system. So that's why I was getting that error. That's why I changed the location to some other location. So you keep the default ones. Now in this page, I think my screen is clearly visible. It's not. So in this checkboxes, there is a checkbox called add Anaconda 3 to my path environment variable. Don't forget to check that. Please check this particular checkbox and then click install, and it will install the Anaconda. Okay. Why we have to check it? If you don't check it, then if you're going to your command prompt or a terminal, okay, and if you're using the conda commands, it will give you the error stating that the conda command is not external or internal command. That error you will get it. But if you check that particular checkbox and install it, you will not face that issue, because the path of these executables are already added into your environment variable. So you will not face that issue. Now we will understand one point here, or you can say a ground rule or thumb rule. Let me say in that thumb rule. Henceforward, whenever you try to work on a project, okay, any new project you want to work, you have to remember that you have to create a Python virtual environment. Sorry, virtual environment. Okay, we'll understand why it's important, etc. Now, suppose you are working on a project, say project C, project 1, okay, and the requirement for this project is, and this project you did not develop it, but someone developed it, and now you're doing some enhancements to this project. And this project requirement is Python 3.9 version. With that, it has a requirement of a couple of Python modules such as NumPy. And for this 3.9 version, there should be a compatible NumPy version. Suppose that is 1.0. This is the example. Same with the Panda, some version, and couple of other modules required to run your project or this project P1 successfully. Okay. So now what you did install Python 3.9, the NumPy, and other compatible packages or modules. Well and good. Now, so you are working on project P2, and for this P2, your requirement is 3.11 or 3.12. Let me take 3.12, which is the latest one. 3.12 and respective modules. This is your requirement with the P2. But as you have this version on your system, installing a latest version will create a lot of problem and a confusion. Then how to tackle this thing? If I can isolate this thing as a separate box and this thing as a separate box, means the modules or Python required for this project, I can isolate, and this project, the Python or other modules which are required, if I can isolate these two, then I will not see any impact of 3.9 on 3.12 or vice versa. Then how can I do it? Or do we have any option to do it? Yes, we do have in Python, which is nothing but we call it as a virtual environment. What does virtual environment does is whatever Python version or the packages you use it, that will be limited to this particular environment only. It means whatever modules you see here in this project 1 environment will not interact with project 2 environment. So you're isolating it. So now At the same time, you can work on two projects. The one is P1 project, which has this requirement, P2 project, which has these requirements. So far it's clear, the virtual environment part, why it's needed, and it's a best practice to, like Diksha, it is a best practice. For every project, create a new virtual environment in your local desktop or in your laptop, and then start development there. Because you never know that if you are using a single uh, environment for each and every development, one project might run second, the other project might break, and then it creates a lot of chaos, a lot of problems. It's better to create a number of different virtual environments, and each virtual environment specific to a project is a good practice. So that's why in our case also, we will create one virtual environment. Okay. And to create a virtual environment, if you have used Conda, if you have installed the Anaconda, then you use a command called Conda. Okay. Then create hyphen and it's an argument which says you would like to pass a name. Here you mention any name. Generally, I will go ahead with DS with AI. Okay. So what it does, it creates a environment, and the environment name is DS with AI. And after that, if you want to have a specific Python version to be installed in your this virtual environment, then after that, in the next line, here it's in the continuation, as I don't have a space, I'm writing in the next line, you mention the Python equal to and the version you would like to install. So suppose you require 3.8, then you mention 3.8. If you require 3.12, then it installs 3.1. But if you don't mention anything, if you don't mention this part, then whatever version the Conda has, the latest version Conda has, which is installed on your system, will be used. Okay, that version of Python will be used to create this virtual environment. So far it's clear. Just give me thumbs up if it's clear. Thank you, Diksha. Thank you, Ravi. Now I have created my Conda environment. So I have to activate it. Thank you, Suvarna. I have to activate it. So you can think something like this. Now, suppose we all know virtual machines, or some of us might know virtual machines, right? What you do, you take the ISO image, you do the installation, etc. After that, you start the virtual machine, right? That's how you can start consuming it. But in Conda, you don't start it, you activate the virtual environment. So to activate it, you use a word called Conda again, then you use activate, then your environment name. In our case, the environment name is a DS with AR. This is our environment. And when you do so, it activates the Conda environment. Let us see that. Now, if you look closely to the left of these things, if I can zoom it, so you don't see anything before left side of the drive C, correct? So when I do Conda, activate, this is my virtual environment I have. And when I say Conda activate DS with AI, now you can see there is something got added or some information is added to the left side of your C drive, which is our environment name. And when you see this thing, it means your environment is activated. Now, whatever installations you do here in this terminal, when you have this portion, okay, then that will be installed and will be limited to this environment only. Now, here, after you do this setup, the first thing you have to install is Jupyter Notebook. So this is the first thing you have to install. Pip install Jupyter. Let me give that command. Pip install Jupyter. Okay, after activating your environment, you have to use this pip install Jupyter. So it installs the Jupyter Notebook, which we use it in our course journey. Plus, later we will use the VS Code also. But for timing, we will use Jupyter Notebook only. So now it's installing the Jupyter Notebook. When the installation is done, you run Jupyter space notebook command. What it does, it starts a Jupyter Notebook server. It starts the Jupyter Notebook server and it opens Jupyter Notebook in your browser. In your laptop, whichever browser is your default browser, be the Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, any browser which is default in your system, your Jupyter Notebook will be opened in that particular browser. Now, when you open, this is something you will see when you start a Jupyter Notebook. You might not see the same folders, but the look remains the same. If you have any folders in that particular drive, you will see those folders here, the running tab, the files tab, the views, settings, etc. Now here, let us create our first Jupyter Notebook. To create a Jupyter Notebook, click on New and click on Python 3 kernel icon. Now it has created a Jupyter notebook for us, but it has given our default name. Double click on the name, untitled, and rename it first notebook. Now you have created your first notebook. Now let us understand this IDE, integrated development environment. Now here you see this portion. This thing is called a cell. Cells are of two types. The code cell. So in Jupyter Notebook, cells are of two types. First is code cell, where you write your code, and second is the markdown cell. As I mentioned, in the code cell, you write your code. In the markdown cell, you can have your documentation about your code. You can have a documentation about your code. You can have the running commentary of your code, etc. You can have. And in this markdown cell, you can use any HTML tag you know, or you can use all the HTML tags in this markdown cell to make your documentation very neat and clear and very eye appealing. Okay. So let us go and see the difference between both and to understand if a cell is a markdown cell or a code cell. For a code cell, at the extreme left side, you will see a square brackets, open and close square brackets. But for markdown cell, you don't see it. Let us see those things. So now in this cell, you can see a open and close square brackets. And after that colon, it means this is your code cell. Means here you can write your code and do the execution. So let me create one more. And now here, I don't see the square brackets. It means it's not the code cell, it's a markdown cell. In the markdown cell, you can use HTML tags. H1 is for notebook. So you can use all, if you know any of the HTML, if you know HTML, you can use all your HTML tags here to make your documentation very neat and clear. Okay. But here we have a couple of shortcuts also. Now you have H1 tag here. To represent H1 tag, you can use hash and a space, and then this is dot tag. Now these two, the single hash and the tag h1 means the same. Here we have a shortcut. Hash is a shortcut for h1 tag. Now we have seen the two types of cells. We have seen the markdown cell, how we can write it. Let us go to the code cell. In the code cell, suppose I would like to write a print. We will see what is print, etc. We will see those functions. A print. And now I wrote my code. The next part is I have to execute it. How can I execute it? There is a play button. Click on the play button. It executes. Well and good. But there are shortcut keys also. Instead of using the play button, you can use Control Enter, which executes. And there is one more shortcut key, Shift Enter. The difference between Control Enter and Shift Enter is that Control Enter executes the current cell, and Shift Enter executes the current cell and passes the control to the next available cell. So look carefully when I'm doing here, the entire thing is highlighted in the blue box. If I do Shift Enter, now the control shifted to the next available cell. Now these are different cells. I have to, if I need multiple cells, how can I create it? So there is a plus symbol here. You can use that to create, or in each cell, there is option to create a cell. This particular symbol, I'm zooming it further so you people can see it easily. It's not supporting. Yeah. If this is a symbol where you have a plus symbol and a box below that, it means you plan to create a cell below it. If a box is on the top of the plus symbol, it means you try to create a cell on the top of the existing cell. These are the options you have. But some of you might like a shortcut keys rather than this manual work. So the shortcut key is to create a cell above the existing cell is the shortcut key is A. And if you would like to create a cell below the current or active cell, you use. So let me write something here. And I do, you use a shortcut key called B. If you would like to delete a cell, you press D twice. You press D 2 times and it deletes the cell. But you say these are the shortcut keys I might not remember. Then how can I do something? Then go click on help and then click on show keyboard shortcuts. And here you will have a list of all the keyboard, all the shortcuts you can use in this Jupyter notebook. All the shortcuts, we don't use it often. Okay, the creating a cell above, below, executing a cell, those things we use it often. So that's why I told you those shortcut keys only. But you can explore and see what are the different available shortcut keys and you can try with that. So far it's clear. Did we understand the Jupyter Notebook IDE? What are the different components of it? What is cell? What is markdown cell? How both are different, etc. Thank you, Disha. Others, give me thumbs up if it's clear. If not, please go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, sorry. So there was some internet connection issue at the beginning.
Yes, Satish.
Difference between shell and a markdown shell.
Okay, difference between shell and markdown. Correct, Satish?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, sure. So there are cells are of two types: code cell and markdown cell. In the code cell, you write code, your Python code. Okay. And to identify if a cell is a code cell or a Python cell, code cell or markdown cell, in a code cell, at the extreme left side, you see a open close square brackets followed by a colon. But for a markdown cell, this symbol does not exist. First point. Second point, with the markdown cell, you write a documentation. If you want to write, you write a documentation about your code, or you write a running command, or you write the logic. What is this particular code is about, etc. That information you can write in a markdown cell. And in the markdown cell, you can use all the HTML tags you are aware of. For example, H1 tag. What is H1 tag? It means header 1, right? H2 tag, header 2, right? For this H1 and H2, in a Jupyter Notebook, you have a equivalent shortcuts. The shortcut is hash equivalent to H1, double hash equivalent to H2, and so on. So we understood the different components of this Jupyter Notebook, etc. Now let me go to the different thing, which is a Google Colab. So one of you said, Satish, you said, right? You are not able to install because of some issue.
I think it's getting there. I think it's sorting out. It shows me that it's getting the basic.
Not an issue. Anyways, I would like to introduce to Google Colab because sometimes for some of you in your organization when you're at work in your office laptop, you can't install a couple of softwares, right? It's not allowed. So in that case, if you have a Google access, then you can use a Google Colab to practice during in your office also. If you have a restriction on installing new software, you can use Google Colab. So this is the link of Google Colab. So this is also a notebook which is provided by the Google, as the name suggests, Google Colab. And in this particular notebook, it does provide you different engines, or if I may simplify it, it's a different. It gives you different VMs. It gives you CPU, GPU, TPUs also. But in Google Colab, only one drawback is that you can't run the Google Colab 24/7 because it's a free version. You can't run it 24/7. After, I think for a CPU, I think after 1 or 2 hours, the VM stops. So whatever work you're doing, if you did not save the output, then you have to start from zero. Okay, that's the only drawback we have with this Google Colab, because whatever connections, the VMs you're connecting to, the free VMs you're connecting to, it does not run 24/7. After certain time, it stops working. So make sure when you're working with Google Colab, after any iterations, you save your work. Okay, to avoid any issues, that any situation where you have to start from ground zero. So now let us see this Google Colab. One minute, the Google Colab is loading. The new notebook is loading. So this would be your Google Colab notebook. So here also it's notebook. So it means it will have the code cells and the markdown cell also. Here the code cell you can see, which is mentioned as a code, and the markdown cell is mentioned as a text. It's a markdown cell itself, but in a Google Colab it's mentioned as a text. So in the code cell, as I suggested, you write your code, print first collab O. And if you execute same shortcuts, Control Enter, Shift Enter, the shortcuts also remains the same. no much changes in the shortcut. So if you have a comfort level in Jupyter Notebook, you can do the same thing here. Okay. Now I ran this particular piece of a code. I'm getting the output first collab code. Now here we have to look a couple of things. Now here you can see a drop down. You click on the drop down. Now you could see certain options. Connect to the hosted runtime. Connect to the runtime. Connect to the custom GCE VM. Means if you have a GCP access where you have your VM, you can connect. But nowadays it's not allowed, the older version where you can connect. Then you can connect your local runtime also. So let us see. Connect to the hosted runtime. So it is connecting to the runtime. If you click on change runtime, now here you see the list of different runtimes you can use it. A CPU, a GPU, and V28 TPU. These are the freely available runtimes or the virtual machines, I say, if in a very normal term, different virtual machines on which you can run your code. Okay. Now here we have seen one option which says connect to local runtime. So here in this place, you have to give your local runtime location, local runtime. So here, if I scroll up to the place when my Jupyter notebook started, it generated a link. So let me scroll up and show it to you. So see here, it has generated a link. So copy this link, go to this Jupyter notebook and paste your link and say connect. And now whatever you try to execute, it does not use the Google provided instances, but it runs on your local or uses your local host, which is your Jupyter notebook host, right? It uses that to run any code you write here and execute. Everyone clear? I'm telling this thing because I know some of you be at office, you have some free time, would like to do something, some practice, but you don't have a Python in your laptop because of your company policies. You can use this practice. Okay, clear so far? And now, if you would like to upload any file, click on this folder and then click on this upload. So now whatever file you want to upload, it will be uploaded here, and this file will be available till your session is running. And still if you're connected to the Google provided instances, if it's up and running, till then this particular folder will be available. The second option, you can connect your Google Drive. You can connect your Google Drive with your Google Colab. And whatever files you have on your Google Drive will be shown here. So that part we will see how you connect. It's a simple, yes, Satish.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name. I just said like I had it.
Vivek.
Vivek. Hi, Vivek.
Yes.
So if we say, for example, I've written 10 lines of code and then after a period of time, it lost the connection. Still, can I save that in the local drive somewhere nearby so that I can upload it and start working?
So, okay. So whatever code you write, that will not be wiped out. The code will be there. But suppose you're training a model. So what we do after certain iterations, we try to save the model. So if you don't save the model, then the whatever the output you are getting out of the model, that will be wiped out, not the code. If you're writing a 10 lines of a code, if the connectivity, the what we say, Google provided instance is disconnected, still the code will exist. It will not be deleted or wiped out. It will be intact. Only the output is something which you cannot get it until unless you're saving it. Now this is what about your IDs, and with that I would recommend you to install the VS Code also. Okay. That we will not use in the near future, but later we will use it. So for that thing, if possible, just get it installed as soon as possible, but we have a time.